Welcome back to Morning Markets on Tuesday the 15th of November. Global equity markets were slightly softer yesterday, driven by the US after the strong gains which were made through the course of last week. The softer gains yesterday were really as investors turned their attention back to US corporate earnings, but also the expectation that central bankers would re-emphasize their commitment to raising interest rates during the speeches which are due to be presented through the course of the week. For context, at this point in time, interest rates in the US are 4%, but there's an expectation that these will get between 4.5% to 5% by the spring of next year. UK and European markets, they retained the optimism which they felt through the course of last week, leading to positive returns in UK and European markets by the end of yesterday. In terms of some of the key data prints, we had UK wage data and UK employment data. In terms of wages, in the UK, wages rose by 6% over the 12 months to the end of September. This was beaten expectations of 5.9%. Excluding bonuses, wage growth was around 5.7%. Now, for context, this is the strongest wage growth in regular pay which we've seen outside of the COVID-19 pandemic period, with a greater increase in wages felt by private sector workers. Private sector worker wages were up about 6.6% relative to public sector at around 2.2%. However, after adjusting for inflation, wages were slightly softer. They were down 2.6%. In terms of the unemployment rate in the third quarter, the unemployment rate did nudge up marginally from what was the lowest level, which we've seen since the 1950s, of 3.5%, which was recorded at the end of August. It nudged up to 3.6% at the end of September. This is still a historically low level of unemployment, reflecting the strength of labour markets here in the UK. The total number of payrolled employees is now 834,000 higher than the pre-pandemic level. So there's 29.8 million people in the UK registered on payrolls. Vacancies for jobs remain near record highs, but what we are seeing is signs of some companies just starting to withdraw some of those adverts and holding back on recruitment given the rising costs. So for context there was 46,000 fewer advertisements with a total of 1.2 million adverts out there to fill vacancies at this point in time. It's also interesting to note that whilst wages are rising, the number of hours actually fell during the quarter. So this is in part due to public sector strikes, but also evidence of companies willing to pay up to attract, but also to retain employees within their companies. So in terms of the key takeaways, I think the data in the main reflects that there are some signs of softening in the labour markets, but in the main, labour markets in the UK remain very strong. Firms are looking to retain workers and are willing to pay up for this. And this is a similar theme to what we've seen across the US and also Europe. This is a positive for consumers. It's putting them in a better position to tackle higher living costs, but a challenge for central bankers who are seeking to cool demand at this point in time to bring inflation levels down to those 2 to 3% targets. Hence, the expectation in the tone from central bankers, especially in the US this week, we are anticipating that they will seek to cool the expectations by reaffirming their commitment to raising interest rates. Thank you very much for watching. Please do tune in tomorrow for more information here on Morning Markets.
If you're interested in taking your investing to the next level, or would like to know more about the options available to you when you retire, then download our free guides to ISAs and pensions. These are available in the video description below.